over and over. There was a shrimp on his Nidalee. I'm sorry, MikeYeung on Nidalee. They had that Corki, as you said. They just played it like they could engage all day. But with two teams, a win under their belt now, feeling pretty decent. We'll see what they have for game 3.
All comes down to this. Is he going to get through? All right, Dignitas already with a couple different target bans now. They recognize Ryu's prowess on the champion. Corki no longer that option. I still think, though, it's going to come down to this third red side ban. Because the Caitlyn and Zach, I feel like, are a given. Are they actually going to go the extra mile here and ban out that Kalista? So, to me, the answers that we listed before, the Kog'Maw, the Tristana, the Twitch, like, a lot of those kind of rely on, yep, there it is. A lot of those kind of rely on scaling a bit for later, but as we've seen, both these games have ended so quickly into the 23, 24-minute marks. With Kalista off the table, though, the next biggest source of playmaking has been the Thresh. Flash Flay into Hook is so reliable right now for all these pro players. They're able to consistently pull that one off, so still able to create a lot of plays for the team, even without the assistance of Kalista. But now, it's anybody's game, Riv. We don't have that extra, phase call for mid-game, so this one might be a bit longer.
I was just thinking that myself. Without these surefire initiations, they take the Braum support for support, so actually not showing too much. Obviously, there's a second pick here. MikeYeung, look at that one-handed fidget spinning as he picks his own champion.
MikeYeung, he can do it all.
What is this? Great, so Braum.
What can he do?
Elise on the side of Phoenix1 here. Shrimp, what will he decide? No problem with picking a jungler. Make sure he doesn't get pinched out here.
Yeah, Shrimp shouldn't feel too pressured, even though Elise is very strong in the early game and can try and snowball lanes. Nunu going to focus on the camps pretty early on. Nunu, it is a possibility to try and affect a lane, but it really depends on a lane just presenting a very good opportunity for you, right? If the enemy is trading super heavily or your solo laner like blows their flash all by himself first, then you can try and go, get some early presence down as Nunu. But if Elise is there, you guys get kind of out-dueled. So it kind of has to be an opportunity that just presents itself to you and not really your main objective early on in the game.
Tristana does get picked up. Altec actually used to play a hell of a lot of Tristana back in the day, if I remember correctly. Ryu on that Kog'Maw, swapping it over to Arrow. I think that's what they're going to lock in. No, the Twitch was banned that game. He did have to lock Kog'Maw in, so he gets a chance to go back to the Twitch.
Well, we mentioned the scaling for both these champions, and we will probably get to see it. So, yeah, maybe we are in for that longer game here this time around, Riv. Tristana's going to have the added benefit of the Blood Boil, though. Plus, Nunu also can build Knight's Vow super early. It's always I rush on the champion, so there are a lot of support items plus extra abilities that can be used to assist Altec and buff him up for later in the game. Whereas right now, it's very important that Arrow will have the Braum stand united to stand behind. Yep. But other than that, he's gonna have no extra steroids.
Let's see a mid laner ban. What are we thinking, Altec? He bans up Cassidy.
Orion is still available, so unless they want to give that one over to Phoenix1, I feel like Dignitas might follow up their Cassidy ban with that Oriana ban. Well, definitely depends here on what Phoenix1 are going to throw here. Number 2 first, though. Phoenix1 do get first pick in the second round of the picks, so they could jump on it if you leave that one open.
Taking away the comfort. That was Kled. I was going to say Zed on Zed, Kled on Kled.
So it's either Team Dignitas ban out the Oriana here and then hope that they can, get Keane's Cassiopeia, which he's actually had quite a lot of success on, and provides a very good backline counterpart to Tristana later in the game. Or they just answer top lane. Wow, they do answer top lane, so let's see what Arrow's feeling.
Looks like they just want to get everybody on somewhat of a different play style, seeing the same picks for the last 2 games in the top 3. So there's the Jayce was banned out.
Zig and his Jayce. So last year, Zig kept on tweeting out how he was you know, #1 Jayce NA, and he was really, really proud of the work that he's put in on Jayce. He's a guy that loves to play this super aggressive style. That's why you can see his damage number is very high. Jayce is a champion that lends himself to high damage per minute numbers because you're oftentimes in a range melee matchup. So for the first part of the game, you're constantly trading, throwing out those auto attacks into a fairly tanky opponent. And even if the opponent does have the Doran shield, if you're able to control the brush on the side for Jayce, you can kind of abuse that range in the melee matchup. And it looks like Phoenix1 want to gear a little bit more towards some pressure on the top side with that pick.
I mean, pretty sweet skill matchup.
Ah, the Taliyah though.
Gets through indeed. There's a lot of top lane focus here on these last few bans, although the Syndra and the Cass were there. The Cassiopeia and the Taliyah get through. This was actually banned by Phoenix1 last time, both of these champions.
I do enjoy this matchup a lot because if the Cassiopeia can dodge the seismic shove of Taliyah, then she can go for the all-in. You know, you get that poison down, you get your bonus move speed, and even if Taliyah has some more ground to run over, which gives her bonus move speed, you really have to respect that all-in from the Cassiopeia. So it's definitely, you know, skill shot dependent and involves a decent amount of dodging for these two champions. But we'll see if the Elise can actually tilt that matchup because it can definitely snowball out of control. If Taliyah doesn't get, you know, early shove and the opportunity to roam, the Cassiopeia will outscale a little bit.
I like this. I like the top lane, the Jarvan Jayce. Taliyah versus Cassiopeia mid. We got Nunu versus that Elise in the jungle. So, as you said, Kobe, I think it's going to not have to be a little bit of jungle help, but could easily sway that top or bottom lane. Hashtag dig win, hashtag P1 win. I should say top or mid lane, not bottom lane.
Yeah.
As we head into our third matchup, you see the lineups on your screen. Get your vote in, and you'll see it at the bottom as well as we get into game. A lot of pressure coming from MikeYeung in that second game, and the rest of the team doing big things with the Kalista. None of that this game. We'll see how they create their options as we get out of the Rift.
I really do agree with you about the top lane focus probably for an Elise in this series. Jungler is always evaluating the different matchups in all three lanes, and ganking a Thresh Tristana lane is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because not only you have the rocket jump, but the lantern, and
so slippery.
There's just a lot of things you have to work through if you want to gank that lane. Meanwhile, you know, he's got a Cassiopeia and a Jayce as a solo laner, so I think for sure MikeYeung starts to you know, path up towards the top side to try and create stuff up there. That being said, though, Shrimp is probably going to have the same idea. And as Nunu, if you try and take away camps in the area of the map that you think the enemy is going to go to, then it costs them. He's going to, yeah, that would be close because I think both teams are well aware of kind of the top focus that could be, you know, for both of them. And Phoenix1, we're setting up for a possible invade there to counter a deep ward from Nunu.
Smart play by Shrimp. Little sixth sense there to wait a little bit longer. Keeps himself safe. Now they have vision of actually Ryu in mid lane for a quick second from Keane's sight. And things pan out. Line of scrimmage to begin. Still looks like Shrimp's going to get a ward in there just to, or maybe not.
Yeah, he's waiting around. A little bit more defensively, I guess, is the case here. Other thing with Nunu, you definitely don't need any assistance in pulling for your camps. It is nice to have a little bit, and, you know, at least Jarvan auto with the passive is max % health damage. So even an auto, a couple autos, and a Q, which doesn't take too much time, actually does help out a lot, you know, increasing the clear speed. So, and it looks like he is actually going to get that bit of assistance. MikeYeung, meanwhile, getting a double pull from the Jayce and the Cassiopeia on his Elise here. So you can set up all the small raptors for your W explosion. Very clean, quick kill there for himself, and then that gives you level 2, so you get your Q next, and you can execute that big raptor. Question mark pings go down. They're unsure if MikeYeung went from raptors to red, or maybe he's traversing down to the bottom side. Obviously, we know that he's going down to that bottom side, but the duo lane has to be a little bit more careful, because they don't know for sure. MikeYeung is pathing down to this side, so contrary to what we thought out of Champion Select, he might actually make an early visit down there, depending on the playstyle of this dig bot lane. Usually when you're pushing up bot like this, you need to go ward and blow up that blast cone for the possibility of that 2.5-minute gank, which is actually pretty common. MikeYeung about to hit level 3, but level 2 here for the bottom lane, and Adrian is going for that blast cone. Roaming up on the Thresh. He wards in the brush instead. Blast Cone's still there.
Yeah, moved up to get a little bit of vision. The P1 ward died recently in the river. And with that Tristana push just happening in lane, you'd think there would be a visit down bot lane if MikeYeung were to get the scuttle and head there.
Walks over that ward though. Nice Ryu ward around mid lane, gets vision on MikeYeung, and now they can play appropriately there with the bottom lane. As we said, even though they're pushed up, Tristana Thresh is so difficult because they have a lot of tools in order to get out of that engagement. Unless Xpecial got a really easy Braum combo, then it's pretty difficult.
Hold on the ward there. As soon as they saw Mike, Adrian went to place that ward we thought he was placing earlier. So they're looking to get like max value out of everything they're doing here in the bottom lane. Love to see the little things. Brush control from Xpecial. They actually don't decide to go hard on Altec. They give him a little space in lane to play with, not missing any CS. Adrian returns, and they are safe to kind of throw a hook out, hoping to get a minion wave.
Oh, level 3s. They got the bomb press and one more auto attack.
Contaminate for knee.
Pretty even trade in the end. During this all the exchange we're watching on the bottom, though, keep your eyes on the mini-map. Not only is that just good training for yourself for when you're playing, but we missed Shrimp going deep into the jungle. He put a ward on the wolf camp of MikeYeung. So he knows that MikeYeung should be up on the top side. Yeah, that ward we're talking about right there is one that Shrimp just walked in and put. So by process of elimination, Team Dignitas should be aware that Ssumday should be playing more cautiously. We kind of saw before in game number 1 the effectiveness of early ganks this season on Ssumday. He does have his Tribe Brush ward, but Elise could go up the river, so that's why he's playing in the middle of the lane. He knows it. He's playing defensive. Ooh, they don't have communication, and they actually didn't tell Mike that there's a trinket ward here. So Ssumday now just wants to waste his time.
Yep.
Don't give anything away.
Make sure he hatches that ward. Spawns another ward. Oh, Keane putting himself in a position to get aggressed on, but no bite from Ryu. He says, yeah, you're running away too quick to that brush.
Trying to bait a little. Yeah.
The mind games very much so in play here between kind of the skill matchups, you'd say, between Jayce and a Jarvan and a Taliyah and Cassiopeia. Talked about how that seismic shove miss for Keane could mean big things for Ryu, but there is another way around. Keane dodges a petrifying gaze, and that can go either way. Jungler aggression hasn't really been affecting the lanes too much to start things out, as they were really just trying to find MikeYeung in the beginning. Yeah,
like I said, I like the way Ssumday played that, even though he had vision of MikeYeung. Wasted a good 15 seconds of his time by not altering the way that he's playing the lane at all. And they actually had called up Shrimp for a second, just in case Mike tried to force that gank so that they could try and turn it around and counter, but he did not. So both of them showing a little bit of temper here, but Mike on bottom.
That ward died, the brush. A quick walk in here coming in from P1, the lockdown, the flay. They're focusing different champions, the shields as well, helping to keep Dignitas healthy from Adrian, and they get out of that one pretty unscathed. Just a flash for them.
Yeah, all those things we talked about, rocket jump, the Thresh lantern, all coming into play here, and the bottom lane goes with just a trade of flashes where MikeYeung flashed for his cocoon, but they don't have that much damage. They were still both full health, and Adrian on Thresh. It is an important flash to blow, but definitely necessary there.
A little scuffle in mid lane as well during that. Ryu's petrifying gaze is down, but Keane's flash is down as well. So he looked to get out of that situation fast. The cleanse is still up, so he could get himself into a scary situation if Shrimp were to be there. Maybe they bait that in.
That would be big. No flash onto Taliyah is an easy chase down if Elise is able to get there. And you can even go for tower dives, because Elise can take 2 tower shots before repelling, and that's enough time for the damage of Cassiopeia, combined with the Elise executes to actually take out a mid laner. So definitely going to want some more warding around mid for Keane now. They should make the call to communicate with Shrimp. Hey, you've got your trackers, so get over here. Give me some extra vision so I don't get dove / ganked by this Elise. My flash is down and need to buy some time.
Moby Elise trying to zoom, go fast. Shrimp, nice guy.
How nice, though. He gives the blue buff, but will he also give those wards we're talking about for the extra security?
We'll have to see.
Yeah, he's got farm first.
Ryu got it last game. Remember that wards we saw? There are at least 4 wards around mid for Ryu to start things off. Here the focus is obviously a bit different, but he is warded up towards that bot side and staying safe as he gets his blue as well. Those transferred over means both teams kind of have an idea of where the junglers are. Bot lane may be where they meet.
All right, MikeYeung was first to the vision game, so he gets a little bit of damage here, and how much can they do?
He walked through the cobweb in the jungle. You hit that right in the face. Don't you hate that? Nobody goes down, though. It fizzles out. Ssumday does choose the Cataclysm. Flash for Ryu. He knew he would get that. Very safe play for Dignitas there to be able to get a little bit more.
Yeah, so Ssumday, even though he completes his teleport and allows Zig to push on the top side, they have 5 members here. They're cutting him off from the defense, and they want to pressure turret. It's only MikeYeung, and they're going to burn it down.
Gonna feel good with a Tristana. Explosive shot. The wall drops. Is there an entry? Flashes down for Ryu after that lash engage. Remember, he could not get in there. And Dignitas kind of spreading P1 thin. Get a little bit off of that, but no huge gain. Just a bit of damage on the turret.
Yeah, that was a good repel out by MikeYeung to the ward. You can target those for Elise for extra escapes. And Phoenix1 weren't, trapped in there, because that was a little bit of a scary situation considering Mike did not have his flash. But now he's looking for the offensive play here, diving Ssumday.
I like this. Puts the distance towards the top side. If he flag and drags now under.
Oh,
very,
Ssumday!
very safe for himself. Ssumday coming up huge. What a play. First blood for him. Bot lane's going to be taken up as well. Ward's going to be here, so the pressure in from Arrow and Xpecial could happen. But there's a rotation from Altec as well that could cut them off. Arrow and Xpecial are going to hang out. Dignitas gets first blood on the top side as Ssumday comes up huge, and the first Cloud Drake.
Yeah, you take a swing at Ssumday, you better not miss, because not only does he get the first blood outplay in the tower dive, but Nunu's always going to take something if you show yourself in lane going for a dive like this. And just watch what Ssumday does. He just makes a beeline straight for the minions so that the turret immediately goes onto MikeYeung. If that melee minion had gotten into turret range, then this goes completely opposite. But because the minion didn't get up into the turret range, that extra shot from the turret takes MikeYeung so low that Ssumday kills him with the flash combo there and gets out alive.
A little ridiculous, seeing as he used flag and drag to get under his turret to start. So he didn't have that escape. He didn't have that knock-up. Still keeps himself alive. A little folly from the side of P1, but a great play as well from Ssumday. Cannot take that away. A slight gold lead for himself. We'll see if he can pressure that. Like we said, when somebody gets that lead, if not put down, that becomes the teleport plays that catapult Dignitas into the lead. Here, top map pressure means a possible Rift Herald, but they are in vision now for the Scryer's Bloom.
And again, this is Dignitas actually rotating their duo squad up top, but so is Phoenix1, so they have reinforcements in the area. The only problem is a little bit of lack of vision for themselves. And this might explode pretty quickly. Powder keg ready to blow. All right, they're clearing out some of the vision.
Nice little word just behind them. Keeps seeing them trickle in and trickle out.
Trickle in, trickle out, trickle up. Everybody in the top lane.
It's Kobe's new single. Gold's all even. Who gets the fight?
Waiting on the control ward. They really, Arrow got very close to that control ward, by the way. So they're kind of hoping that he would, go aggressive and move up there again, but not going to be the case. Zig does have teleport, but they might have to seed this first turret gold.
Ssumday baiting out the crowd control, also finding Arrow on that. And actually, Altec still close enough to put a few shots on, but he's more deciding whether to shoot than actually shooting the turret, so he backs off.
How much do Dignitas want this? 50% of the turret there in the last fight, and Phoenix1 just keep Zig on the bottom side, so I think they're going to give up first turret gold.
Also a teleport Zig could use. Maybe he can't see it because it's under that vision.
Oh, they're fighting it.
Taliyah's pushing down towards the bot side. Zig's actually going to go straight for the turret teleport, and that's going to pull Keane back up. Already a rotation from Ryu coming in here. That turret is down, and P1 is looking to disengage until they get the rest of their damage. Ryu is so far away right now. Can Xpecial stay alive? He goes down at the last moment, and everybody's just forced to back as they were roaming up.
Yeah, bad decision there from Phoenix1. They got the timing messed up.
Yeah.
Teleporting that late onto a turret, Dignitas are able to just burn the turret down, then no Jayce shows up. not only do they lose the first turret gold, and they lose the extra kills, they lose the second turret as well.
Instead of staying there by red, P1 finishes those backs. Like you said, second turret goes down, and the pressure here was stopped by Keane from Zig. So he was able to actually hold that. Keane's teleport.
So look at this ward. Look at this ward right in the middle of your screen. That's red for Phoenix1. They could teleport right now on that ward, but instead they wait for the hook to land, and then the teleport comes in on the turret, which then just gets focused down by Shrimp and Altec. So completely just goes out the window here for Phoenix1. Everybody trying to abort mission and scramble, every man for himself, but Xpecial gets left behind. The turret, not only the first one, but the second one also going down, and Team Dignitas keeping up that pressure on the top side, really rewarded for it.
Some map, or global map plays, I should say. That was Dragon just before that little scoot towards the top side. They rotated Altec and Adrian, and the rest of the team was right behind with the cavalry. Shrimp should be able to hold this long enough. Yeah, they're Keane just on the outside there to pick up blue. Altec, very scary position. Seems like he just realized or remembered, I should say, he was playing against the Twitch.
All right, I think that Dignitas should actually take the Rift Herald. Well, there's two lines of thought. You want to take it because it's easy to take right now since you have the top turret down. But I have seen a couple of teams strategically take the Rift Herald later in the game so that you can use it further on for secondary turret pushes, because outer turrets are a bit easier to take with the Rift Herald. Here goes the Taliyah wall, splitting up Phoenix1 though, and they catch Mike.
Oh, he's gonna have to come back down on that side of the wall. Stand beside me, jumps Xpecial back over. Great Fangs into. That's gonna be Adrian going down, and now it's a 1-for-1, but that's support for damage from the jungler. How do they play this out?
Definitely a good answer there from Ryu to get that extra kill, but again, return straight to the Rift Herald, and Dignitas are going to claim this one. Ward is still on it, actually. Phoenix1 going to contest a second time up there.
Well, Flag and Drag was taken back by Ssumday. Thought he was going in.
There's no jungler, so Phoenix1 can't steal it, but they can try and damage him.
Oh, they did go in! 1v1 turret shot comes through. He says, draw, partner. 30 seconds on the clock for those two. We may get that top aggression now. Mid laners kind of dealing it out. Ryu's low in HP. We'll see if P1 can stand tall still.
Honorable fight down there in the bottom lane. Both of them going down. Turret actually comes through to execute as well. Arrow might get under fire. Shrimp really wants to consume Smite it, and he's got it. Oh man, Mike just came back alive, and now he's caught again.
Itsy Bitsy Spider trying to get out. No more shots coming his way. Keane trying to find the unworked ground for more damage. Oh no, MikeYeung! Whoa! Hello. Hi,
He's calling a shot, pointing to the fences there.
Oh, that was interesting.
It's
all right.
really long and unwieldy. It's hard to aim that thing.
A little unbalanced. I had to check the ratio of weight on that. 4-2. Almost got another kill there. Glacial Fisher. 1-2 shot. Great cleanse straight out of the air. Flash forward from Ryu. He's got a little bit of movement speed to go with that.
Xpecial nails him with the full length Braum ultimate there. Gets the knock up, and a late flash from Keane means answer flash from Ryu. They get the kill. This Rift Herald, she is not going down. Phoenix1, the protectors of the Rift Herald. They're keeping her alive for as long as they can.
Ssumday back to the bottom. He says, I'm just going to stay here for a while now. Clearing out the minions. Actually, nobody can really touch him too much. We saw Zig in the fight under the turret. That was Zig able to get a few shock blasts on Ssumday before they took that initial fight. So he had to wear him down. We'll see how it goes.
Round 2
from the top.
All right, they're just going to clear minions.
Maybe.
Round 2, less exciting than round number 1.
They're a little winded.
All right, honestly though, they should be just keeping Arrow, getting some more farm here on the Twitch. He doesn't have Blade of the Ruined King yet, so he needs to catch up a bit. You know, Altec's already got Infinity Edge on Tristana, so the damage difference is going to be very big between this Trist and Twitch once they get to the team fights. And it's not even going to be a confrontation in a team fight. You know, Dignitas, they're able to take this Mountain Drake. They gave up on the Rift Herald buff after all those attempts, and they're actually just going to take the Mountain Drake instead. I wonder if Phoenix1 can even finish this in time, though. Because
they got it to take Rift Herald faster.
Yeah, they might actually be able to get up here. They're going to pressure mid-turret.
Oh, man.
So Phoenix1 would have to give mid-turret and a Mountain Drake in exchange for this one.
Tristana Mountain, let's go.
Can they even get it afterwards? Here comes Dignitas. They should be able to get it. Oh, Shrimp!
All right. So he can't take it away. You can't deny it. They'll still be able to get it. It stays for about 40 to 45 seconds if they even had to come back to get it. But MikeYeung goes down again.
Let's go down the list, though. They lost the Mountain Drake. They lost their mid turret. They also lost MikeYeung's life, all for the Rift Herald buff. And he does have it, and we'll see how Phoenix1 can use it to get their first turret. But Phoenix1 falling pretty far behind in gold at this point. They've got to be very careful about the amount of kills they're giving over to Dignitas.
See this again.
Yeah, Lanterns in Shrimp, and he flashes, but he flashes. It's already at 500. Oh,
and we flash back to the play. Zig gets over the very fat part of the wall.
So does Ssumday.
Little shock blast there. Does he have his E? No.
Calibrated that sucker.
Poke to the bottom. Yeah, I got it calibrated. The first one was just a warm-up. And that was a flash from both Zig and Ssumday there. Zig's teleport is up. We may see him coming back onto the map quite fast. Ssumday has been roaming around being a globetrotter with his. It's on cooldown. Bot turret should fall, though. Dignitas continues to move the pressure up, and now they have a much shorter map to rotate through. Ow. He can take a heck of a beating. Shrimp stays alive there, but does it pull in Keane?
Ryu ghosted, but he didn't have the mana to finish off Shrimp. So Shrimp able to get away on Nunu. That's the main goal. You absorb the enemy mid laner's ultimate and get a summer spell, and he still walks out alive.
That feels good, though. If you're ever to calculate something, be like, I can take that entire mana pool.
Yeah, I knew it all along.
I knew it all along. Did it in my head, savant style. Coming up on 20 minutes, very close to what could be the end of the game, Kobe. At 24 minutes in. But what an amazing set this has already been between these two teams, and the speed they were able to just kind of topple each other one game after the other. A 23-minute game for Dignitas, a 24.5-minute game for P1, and we're just cresting that moment, and a lot less has happened in this game for sure. But Baron's coming up, and that has been the pivotal part of this series.
30 CS ahead here. Altec, Infinity Edge, and Zeal item very, very quickly going to be on the way. So if we talk about the damage output that's possible, Team Dignitas are looking really well set up for this mid game. Sizable gold lead. They have the Drake lead. They have plenty of vision up here through the red quadrant in the jungle around Baron. And as you said, this series has been about one Baron, and boom, the game is over. There goes Rift Herald activation for Phoenix1, though. They want to try and push up mid lane 5v4. Ssumday doesn't have his teleport, but he could walk up the river if he wanted. Consume takes out half Rift Herald's life before the charge goes off, so that lessens the damage. Wow. Boom, dead.
Much less. So even with the team behind it, they couldn't do much. A very fast Ssumday screaming up the right side of the jungle gets pinged out by P1. And throw a quick miasma down so he can't get any further through the jungle.
That might be the least effective, least worth Rift Herald that we've seen, because they give up so much to get that one. Here we go, though. Anytime you've got a Nunu, got to worry about this. There is a Mountain Drake as well, so that accelerates the Baron. 3,000 health already.
30.
Xpecial the hero? Question mark.
Gonna look to throw over the chair. Tell him to sit down. Does not get a chance to do so. Adrian absorbing quite a bit of damage as arrows. Quickly down to 30% HP. Has to leave this fight. Everything P1 is in defense at this moment.
Another 20-something minute Baron here.
Yep.
Will this one be the ender? Blood Boil on Altec, Infinity Edge Tristana, Baron buff, and they're headed straight up mid.
What the things they're getting as well are able to quickly shut down everything that P1's trying to build. The Randuin's already built up for Ssumday, slowing down Arrow because he's going to be on top of him in the first place. And here comes Ssumday down the mid lane. It looks like they'll back off just for the moment. See if they can draw in and engage here.
Dignitas could send a split pusher down there to the bottom side, but they would rather go for these dives. If first game was any indication, they're just going to have Nunu run straight forward, tank up the turret, and go for the dive there with Jarvan and Taliyah combo. Taliyah can cut off Phoenix1, split them at the turret.
Oof. Quarter of Baron and one turret. So good. Well, so far so good, I should say. Bot lane hasn't been pushed. So good. It is as well. Bot lane hasn't been pushed up yet, so Dignitas, this will be some breathing room for P1 as they push back to get those minions up. But what can they do with it? Everything has to be so close for Ryu to get that engage, for Xpecial to hit that Fisher. Dig has to make a mistake.
Ssumday wants a piece, but look at Arrow's placement. The Twitch here in lane, waiting to ambush down that lane. So Zig is kind of baiting right now.
Well, look at those pings. Such careful pings as well.
It's been in Fog of War for a long time, so you got to question how many members are there. Yep, there's more than one.
I don't know if Herald can really help take to this fight. He goes straight for Altec, trying to focus the AD carry. They zero out Zig immediately. Absolute zero put down in range of Arrow, so he cannot get the shots necessary as his attack speed is taken to nothing.
Yeah, that bait only works if it's a single person coming to kill your solo laner there. In the end, Arrow also dies, also blows both summoners. So Dignitas, I think we may be in for another single Baron ender here, Riv.
Absolutely crazy. It happened for them towards this bot side of the turret and mid side of the turret. In the two scenarios, we've seen it. And 14 and 9 seconds on the two dead members of P1. The flag and drag for Ssumday, just for safety. They want to make sure they're healthy here. They don't have the real Ocean Drakes they had last time to keep so sustained. But it is going to be an inhibitor turret 23 minutes in.
Oh, Arrow's back up.
Possibly. That's a slow for Altec. Rocket jump out. They got to be careful who's the caboose in this exit.
Teleport here, flank from Zig. He's behind him.
Shock Blast slows him down. Instant exhaust goes onto Zig. The team is airborne. Keane is hurt. And there goes Ryu. They turn around onto Xpecial, and they've already dropped 2 members of P1. Adrian, the first one to go down, but he got everything off trying to help the team. Oh, the last shot from the Siege Minion almost taking MikeYeung down. Dignitas, they're going to stay goal side to this one. They're pushing P1 out of their own base.
Is Mike going to hit a cocoon here? He's sitting around so low.
Oh, the Q!
He'll die to an E or Q. Oh, he lived!
Oh, he got the smite down onto Blue to get a little bit more HP. Almost gave him what he needed. But there are the kills coming up from Zig. He gets back, and he gets back into form.
All right, now he's got to run for his life here. Zig does have flash. How is he going to get out of this when he can go for the extra speed boost by changing forms? He's on the control ward looking for a counter kill.
They have the same amount of mana here. Big hits from Altec, though, are what changes it up. He can't stay against the wall. Keane can just serve this one home if they need to. Slows him down with one. E-shot back.
Red buff expires for Altec, so they don't have the extra slow, and Zig is able to flash out.
Ooh. Dances that one around. The kill would have been for gold. Not much more is grabbed off of it here. Dignitas able to grab the Infernal. 3 dragons to themselves as they have an assortment. A Cloud Drake, a Mountain, and now some Fiery Infernal. Whew. The Siege again on the bot side.
This one got spicy real quick here. With Arrow coming back up, low death timer there on Twitch, they force the disengage, and then it's a timely flank here from Zig. He does miss that crucial shock blast, though, onto Altec. If he had hit that, this might have been a comeback fight here for Phoenix1, but you know, Altec is able to kill off Cassiopeia there to take down Ryu, so that takes out the core of the team fight, and it's only because of the little skirmishing here from Zig and MikeYeung that they get the extra kills back. In the end, Team Josh still, they accomplished their goal of getting the inhibitor down with that Baron buff and the extra Drake.
And look how much more they would have capitalized as well. Zig doing that much damage with that missed shock blast means he has a lot of power to be putting out. If it all lands, Dignitas will have a very hard time at moving anything else forward. That poke can be done from behind the turret, but they don't have too many more of those right now. Dignitas has been able to drop the structures so fast that P1 has little to hide behind.
Yeah, Dignitas going to keep up the siege here. Press up top. They're pressing up middle at the same time, so they might want to delay one minion wave here. They're waiting for the mid solo laners to get those minions in place as well.
Big power play. See that gold translate in just about 8,000 on the top of the scoreboard. Will Dignitas carry this momentum in? Will they be able to get a clean finish on the game now is the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1:30 till Baron, so they could wait for the super minions on bottom side to create a bunch of pressure on Nexus turrets and just retreat back to the Baron. They've got Nunu still, so you know, taking that Baron would be pretty easy for them. And there's no reason for them to risk another, you know, tower dive. I think that's probably the best option in considering your current state of the game. Only 1 minute left now on Baron. That's 2 more minion waves they have to work with. They can kind of lightheartedly get some damage in.
Jump off that wall a little bit, trying to lock him out from the gate. Damage for Altec. Doesn't have a Bloodthirster, so he can't get too close to the turret with those shots coming in. Shield from the Dark Passage gets in that. And looks like the last wave just a tad ways away. They're going to be able to stay for it. I mean, here you can see how troublesome it is for P1 that they can't really get an engage. They can't even really tag damage on because they need their abilities for what happens here.
Yeah, Tristana destroying the turret there. Another explosive cast. The hook lands.
Ever so slowly.
All right, one more shot on the turret. 24 seconds left on the Baron. It's burning.
Kobe, you said one.
No minions were around, so there was backdoor
powers.
bonus. All right, Baron is up though, so now they can retreat. They've got vision coverage. They can actually just go for the pick. It's a single ward for Phoenix1, letting them know that Team Dignitas are actually looking for picks on the red side jungle.
We're gonna force it. Say we will take this fight. They have a lot of zoning ability. They have a long range catch as well. There's an assortment of brushes or brush on the way to Baron. It really allows Thresh to be able to hook somebody in on the team. Get one of those fog of war catches in. Xpecial gets one from the mid lane, but they were trying to do their own thing as P1 has had enough of walking around to Dignitas' drum.
They're just trying to buy time. Look at the minions.
Oh, all right through. Three-man Cataclysm. If Ssumday goes back, he wants it. MikeYeung actually gets roped into that one as well. And P1 cannot help the rest of the members on their team as Dignitas gets to figure out who gets the shots. Altec with his eyes on the prize, and he comes up with a double kill there. Zig answering back with the same as well. Who's got more damage? And there's Altec going down. It's P1 this time.
Ryu and P1 desperately needed to clutch that fight because the minions we mentioned are on the Nexus turret. Now they realize it, and they're trying to get back to defend.
They quickly went up to say, oh, Baron, quick, wait, not Baron, Nexus. Both Nexus turrets are down.
And Inhibitor's taking damage too.
There's 11 turrets on the map. There's one more standing on that mid inhib, and it doesn't even need to be taken for Dignitas.
What a critical team fight for Phoenix1 that they had to clutch out there. Only a couple more seconds on the clock for them as the super minions were absolutely destroying the base, but they win the team fight. They get back to base. They get to defend and keep both their inhibitors alive for now. Phoenix1 holding on barely.
It's a good push out. I mean, there comes a time when you either say we're leaving base with super minions coming in or we're going to stay to defend them all. And they made the right choice. I guess you have to make the fight in your favor as well. So props to Phoenix1 for fighting from behind there, and Zig's damage finally connecting. We see what it can do during the fight. 55 seconds on the next Mountain Drake. That will be the last elemental we have in the game. For Elder, Dignitas isn't waiting for objectives. They're going on Baron right now in the eyes of P1.
Taliyah wall used. Oh, he flashes in, but knocked out.
Back over Repel. Baron is being held right now. No damage. Dig's pulled off. P1 trying to get out of the pit as well. Shrimp's hanging out with absolute zero. Him and MikeYeung are just throwing punches in the pit. Kill going over to MikeYeung. I say on MikeYeung from Adrian as they start to wipe down P1 now. They found their targets. A triple kill coming in for Keane. And the AoE just continues to shred the members of P1. It wasn't really necessary to have a focus there for Dig.
And that is going to be the game and the series here for Team Dignitas. They get the clean ace plus the Baron. And man, they get to put an end to this exciting series.
We said it probably wouldn't be down that turret. Through mid lane, it will be right to the Nexus. The minions did the work for him. Winions for the third game in Dignitas as they set it up nicely. And Dignitas take down P1 2-1.
What a week for Team Dignitas. They are on a 4-series loss streak. Coming back with a 2-0 week here. Adrian comes in. Him and Altec seem to work together very well, very quickly, creating a lot of plays for the team. And Shrimp on the Nunu.
Top looking stylish. He comes out to congratulate the team. And Nunu, yes. Well, being able to be very versatile in the jungle for the team. Control the game ever so slowly. But the games did not go slow. That lack of slowness in the games. Very methodical to the way Dignitas was able to go about it. P1 as well showing that they could surge and come back, just completely throwing away what happened in game one. Yeah, we lost in 23 minutes, but we can also win in 24 minutes. So it's very good to see from them. However, they do need to climb here at the end of the season. 3-9 now, but Dignitas will move up to 7-5.
Yeah, Team Dignitas really want to start making their climb back up there to the top. A little bit of a lull, but man, they are back on fire. Phoenix1 as well, coming back from Rift Rivals. A bit of a bumpy road.
Altec been having some great games so far, bringing out that Trist, putting himself on the front line, but as well playing with the team in those Kalista compositions to organize very well.
Yeah, he had a decent gold lead here in this game over Arrow, getting to the crit multipliers on Tristana, before the Blade of the Ruin King even came in for the Twitch, and he was a huge part of a lot of those team fights that really earned them this victory. But again, Nunu, especially on this patch,
what about Nunu,
7-13, I talked about it a whole bunch and kept on talking about, oh, when's he going to come into pro play? When's he going to come into pro play? It's actually no surprise that the team that has St. Vicious as the coach, the guy who's played Nunu for years and years and, singing the praises of the champion, is the one to actually do it here. And, man, it was definitely successful. A lot of the teams are going to be annoyed by it. But the next patch, actually a very significant hotfix they did to Nunu, reducing a lot of his base stats. The health and the armor gain got taken down a sizable chunk, and it cost him like 3% or 4% win rate. So he's in a much more, stable, I guess, situation on the next patch, and we'll see how they actually adapt to that one. There are other tank junglers. Big fan of the Cinder Hulks and running those tanks from the jungle. So there are other options as well for him to slot into.
It's one of the cool things I like about the versatility of something coming up is not everybody's going to grab it, but this Nunu has now become a possible ban or pick when Elise is gone for the team. It becomes so much stronger for them than really anybody else. So it's kind of if you want to, if you don't want to, well, Dignitas has, and they're able to use it very well. Funnily enough, it's also Barons that are now helping Dignitas get some of these wins, so it's got to feel good to brush away all that history. So now for the player perspective on that series, let's send it to the stage side where Pastry is standing with Dig's ADC.
Thank you very much, Riv. I'm here with Altec after a very interesting back-and-forth series. I felt like the first two games were very one-sided, first for you guys, and then for P1 on the other side. What was it like in that third game, which did seem very close towards the end?
I think since the first two games were really fast-paced, and like the third game, we drafted Nunu. So Nunu's really good at like long games because he's kind of unkillable, and we have a Nunu Trist combo, which is really strong late game. So that's why we kind of, I guess we didn't really make many fights because we know we can outscale them.
That makes a lot of sense. And yesterday we actually did have the pleasure of interviewing your partner in the bot lane, Adrian, and he said it was going to be pretty easy to play that 2v2. So did you think it was going to be that easy, and what are your thoughts on the matchup?
I thought we didn't play as well as we did yesterday. I think yesterday we played a lot better, but I think overall we're really happy with our performance today. But I think that like Kalista can make any like AD carry look really good because the champion's just really strong right now. So I think even though like I played really well on Kalista, I think Kalista kind of like gives you that power to do really well.
And it's interesting to see Dignitas kind of on a resurgence, almost an excellent weekend for the team here, going 2-0 after a 4-match loss streak. What are the things that sort of happened to kind of reinvigorate the team? Because it seems like a lot of different things have changed, and obviously it's working much better than it was before.
I think during our 4-game losing streak, I guess like we kind of wanted to change things up, so we scrimmed a lot more with Adrian, and I guess like results, they're really good. So we decided to play him, and then I guess we ended up 2-0 this week. So I think there's like big props to Adrian. Like people who are like, oh, he can't play certain champions, but I think his Blitzcrank and Thresh was really good.
And then for yourself, my final question. The last time I spoke to you was actually a long time ago, all the way back in Vancouver, of course, when you guys had a heartbreaking loss to finish 4th there when you were on FlyQuest. Now that you're on this team, I know even back then you were really keen to prove yourself here in the summer. What are your personal expectations kind of finishing out the season and kind of moving to playoffs and then beyond?
I think my personal goals are to do really well. Obviously, I guess like last split, the meta was kind of not like, I guess, carry-centric. So I feel like now, since the meta is a lot more carry-centric, I'm like a lot more confident. And yeah, I think just being able to play really well myself, and then hopefully we can do really well in playoffs.
Well played all weekend. Congratulations to Dignitas. Altec, thank you very much for having a chat, but we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to wrap up the series.
Thank you very much, Pastry Tom. A 2-0 weekend for Dignitas, a 2-1 series here over Phoenix1. And looking at how they manufactured this one, specifically here in Game 3, Ssumday doing work in the top lane to avoid all the early aggression put forth by MikeYeung on that Elise pick.
And we talked about how Game 3 was probably going to look pretty different. This time around, the Elise does go through even though the Nunu's up, and so that means that you're going to have a lot of folks around the top side. You see with the Jayce pick, they want to snowball this top matchup. the right thing is being done here in terms of you've got to gank this Jarvan and put him behind, but they just failed the execution a little bit too much. Here you heard Kobe during the broadcast saying they should have teleported in earlier to potentially try and cut this push off. It's too late. The teleport gets canceled out. Now everyone's trapped in that Jarvan ultimate. You're going to lose some members here as well. And it was the kind of case where you know, P1 obviously drafted with the idea that we're going to snowball topside, and they executed it, or attempted to execute it.
Conceptually correct. Execution fell short, and therefore Ssumday gets out to an early kill lead, which makes Jayce's job infinitely more difficult to be, to be a side lane threat.
Right. You see this fight going so close, and if he didn't take that last turret shot, probably gets out alive there. And that's just the kind of situation where both teams' strategies, I think, were very valid. Both teams, you could see what they were going for. It just turned out that Ssumday is a little bit too good in the top lane sometimes. You can't quite snowball on him.
I mean, he played that first turret dive brilliantly, flashing for the kill on MikeYeung as he comes down from the rappel, making sure he eliminates him, gets that XP and a little bit of health off the back end of it to not go down and end up with a kill advantage in the 2v1.
Right, and from there, he's pretty much just becoming the main frontline initiator for the side of Dignitas. They obviously have a lot more of a control comp with the Taliyah, Nunu, Tristana.
And that's where I want to talk about the Nunu pick, because it does seem, specifically for Dignitas, they highly prioritize this champion, and what it does for them in the way of closing out games, it seems to be unmatched in that they are able to utilize it to control the Baron and then use the Baron to close out the game itself.
It's funny because, you know, they were always known in the early part of the split as like the aggressive Baron team, and this is kind of doubling down on that idea. But one of the other potential benefits is that Shrimp is known to be very aggressive and at times too aggressive. And Nunu has a hard time being too aggressive. Like, he can't go for the hyphy play. You can't int on Nunu, really. So in that sense...
What? No, I love it because I'm trying to think of all the reasons why. I mean, yes, he's got survivability because of consume, right? So anytime you're in the opposing jungle at any given moment, I can just,
Smite consume 500 health back.
Exactly. Beyond that, he doesn't have a gap close, and a lot of people will be like, isn't that a problem? No, because he can't gap close too far in and overcommit. All he can do is harass you with snowballs, keep that distance, and speed himself up. So he becomes a nuisance, and then he builds ultra tanky in the late game, and there you have it. He's next to unkillable.
Right, and then you get to that 20-minute mark like you saw in this game. They just force the Baron down. MikeYeung doesn't have flash, and there's Taliyah wall. There you go. Your free 20-minute Baron that Dig loves to force around. So I think the pick actually works on a couple different levels beyond just, nice objective control, and especially against P1, who's known to go for this aggressive style. You play the control game, you force them to go late, and you win through there.
The question will be what happens when they get taken back off of Nunu, right? If teams start realizing that it is such high priority, they need to be banning it. Or what happens when they face teams that do have better response to Baron, right? So teams that establish better Baron control in those early 20s, minute marks, say TSM, right? Would TSM be able to stop the new Baron attempt? And if Dignitas is not able to secure it, how do they close the games out then?
See, that's the thing I like, is because Shrimp is still not conceptually a new player when you think about who Shrimp is. So when you go up against a team that is arguably better than you, you probably don't go for the more control style. You say, all right, you're going to ban our Nunu. Great. Well, we're going to pick Nidalee, and we're going to go crazy in your jungle trying to kill you. And Shrimp can play that style as well. So I like this kind of mix-up. You saw in Game 2, it got banned away by P1, and Dignitas struggled in that game. So it might be a little bit of a crutch Band-Aid right now, but I think it can work well overall.
I mean, Dignitas, they moved to 7-5, again, a 2-0 week after an 0-4 streak, so they're going to feel really good about that, building a little momentum moving into the final 3 weeks of the regular season. Phoenix1, on the other hand, again, coming hot off of Rift Rivals, sit at 3-9. They are well outside playoff position at this point, and it's at a certain point, even though they feel like they're on the verge of becoming a top-tier team, they're just about there. They got to start picking up wins or they won't even make it to the postseason to prove it.
It's such a hole that they set themselves out in before they found MikeYeung. I mean, you look at their record after him, it's pretty respectable. They'd be pushing some of these teams like Dignitas just in terms of match wins if they had played that the entire season. But they had that horrible start to the season where their bot lane is getting demolished, junglers are ineffective, and they just set themselves so far behind, and the rest of the league is playing decently enough that I don't think you can shoo them into the playoffs, and they're going to need to continue to improve because they need to start picking up wins against good teams, not just teams worse than them or around their level, but like a TSM that they're going to have to play again. They're going to have to find some wins against teams that are clearly better than them.
Absolutely. Great week for Dignitas, a rough week, a stumble for Phoenix1. Our first series in the Battle Theatre is on the books, but our LCS weekend is not over quite yet. Up next, Echo Fox hit the Rift versus Team Envy. Don't go anywhere.